All right, let's get into it. Melanated family, what's going on? So check it out. I want to send a big shout out to this Caucasian woman who has a mixed child, right? Because we need to understand, I'm always on my platform preaching black love, black pride, speaking about how we should love each other as a people. But what if you're a white woman who has a baby with a black man? It's important that you do your best to get in touch with our culture, get in touch with our history, do your best to put yourself in a position mentally where I need to make sure this kid understands he's black. You know what I mean? And I can only imagine being a biracial kid in an all white school or all black school. I can only imagine just being a biracial kid in general, at times not knowing which side you belong on. That could be some difficulty, or that can cause some difficulties, right? But shout out to this white mother, because this is what happened in North Carolina, family. So at this K through 8th grade school in North Carolina, in Goldston, North Carolina, to be exact, which Goldston is a all-white community. I've mentioned several times on this show in other places that sundown towns were a big thing in our country, meaning all-white enclaves that were kept white by violence, by discrimination, by several different means. These towns, cities were kept all white. Goldston is like 90-something% white. In my opinion, any town you see that's like 90-something% white, it's that way on purpose. You feel me? So check it out. At this school, J.S. Waters School in Goldston, North Carolina, Ashley Palmer, a white woman, she basically brought to everybody's attention that at this school, her son, doesn't say her son's age, but he's a kid at this school. He looks about 13 or 14. So at this school, the students at the school, not the faculty, that's a different topic. The students at this school had a slave auction. See, not the faculty or the teachers, but the white students at this school actually had a slave auction, and which is some horrible shit, right? But the black kid, well, the biracial kid came home. He told his mom about slave auction. But the thing is, family, what we need to be aware of, because again, I'm happy this lady mentioned this to everybody. Like, she brought attention to the incident. There had to be a town hall meeting. There had to be meetings that took place that basically addressed this issue. In the school district in this community is going to do what they can to fix it. But I mean, come on. We know how shit is, right? But I salute this white woman for stepping up, because again, it has to be difficult being a white woman with a biracial child. If any of you guys haven't seen the Colin Kaepernick documentary or the Colin Kaepernick series on Netflix, that's really important to watch, family, because sometimes white people will have a blind spot. Sometimes white people will have a black child but still be on some white supremacy shit, which to a degree, Colin Kaepernick's parents, his mom, still seemed to be on some, I want to keep this shit all white. You know what I mean? And he felt the effect of that. So check it out. At this school, they had a mock slave auction. Her son came home and told her. She reported it to the authorities. She spoke to the news about it. She wrote about it on Facebook, which was a good thing. And we need to make this commonplace, family. When incidents like this happen at our school with our babies, we need to be aware of it. We need to speak truth to power. So she spoke about it. Only thing I didn't like, a couple things I didn't like. So her son, biracial kid, he mentioned it to her, but he mentioned it like it happens all the time. Like, he didn't seem, based on the news reports that I read, he didn't seem to be outraged by it. Again, I'm happy he mentioned it to her. We just need to make sure our kids are on this, so they know about their history. They know about things that have taken place, so they can be prideful in who they are as black folks. So when shit like this happens, they're outraged and they make sure everybody know. You know what I mean? Also, what we need to get to, because I'm going to talk about in a minute, family, why this type of environment, why this type of rhetoric is so, or these type of situations is so volatile in our community, and why it hurts us so much. But also, this is bigger than just kids having a mock slave auction with other black kids. I mean, where do you think these kids, because these are kids from K through 8th grade. These aren't high schoolers. These are 8th graders on down. Where do you think they learn this mentality? Are we just to assume that they're just watching TV and watching or seeing what's going on the internet and have this mentality? I don't think so, family. I think it's in their family's DNA. Like their mom, their dad, whoever is around speaking about black folks, I'm sure it's some derogatory shit to make them comfortable speaking this way, because if not, in their households, their white families, mom or dad would be telling them about racism, teaching them about how to be a fair-minded person. Obviously, that didn't happen with these kids. So when we look at kids this age conducting themselves this way, I think this is a byproduct of how their parents think, in my opinion. You feel me? But again, I'm happy she spoke up. I'm happy he spoke up. But the young man also mentioned that they did the slave auction. Some of his friends they auctioned them off for like $350. One of the white kids was the slave master because he knew how to handle, right? He knew how to handle the black kids, whatever the fuck that mean. The black kid also mentioned that he got beat as a slave, like somebody had a bat and was beating him. They didn't say how hurt he was. Hopefully he's not hurt bad, but they mentioned that during the slave auction, he was hit with a bat. Melanated family. We never gonna preach violence. We never gonna advocate just being violent, right? But, and this is one of the problems I think we've had to deal with in this country. One of the problems that allows violence against us to continue is because we don't strike back in the same way. I'm sorry, family. If a white kid at your son's school, your daughter's school, puts them on a slave auction and start beating their ass with a bat, you better make your son or daughter go to work. I don't give a fuck if they get suspended. I don't give a fuck what the repercussion may be because of this, but certain shit we just can't tolerate, family, right? Right? Being treated a particular way we just can't tolerate. Now, these white kids who were involved in this mock slave auction only got 1-day suspensions. You hear me? They only got 1-day suspensions. So where is because again, the PTA meetings and things they're having to discuss what happened, that's cool, but where's the hate crime? Where's the school district? Honestly, y'all, didn't even take this that serious. So this is important, family. This is critical into like, put the school system to the side for a minute. Melanated family, your kids got to be equipped with pride in who they are, man. They have to be prideful to be black. They have to know our history, never teaching hate. All we gonna do is speak truth to power. That's all we're gonna do is speak truth to power. Now, in telling our history, it may be gruesome. You may have to indulge and speak about certain shit. So what? We never teaching hate, but we're gonna teach the truth. All of our kids need to be equipped with the truth. So if they're ever in a situation like this, because it seems like this young man is in a school where it's primarily white. I have a son who is at a school that's primarily white, but he is equipped with knowledge of self. So none of this shit gonna get by him. And another reason why it's important to teach your kids knowledge of self, teach them who they are and make them and make sure they're prideful in it, because you don't want a racist incident to happen to your child and it hits them off like they're unaware of it. So not only will it be hurtful to them in the moment, but they may begin to carry some of this shit and feel like they're not worthy, feel like they're less than. And that's what we're not going to tolerate, black family. You see what I'm saying? So these kids were suspended for 1 day. We know that's not enough. Family, this is why I'm not sure if any of you guys are aware of this, but there's something called critical race theory. I'm going to read what the textbook definition of what that is in a minute. But the long and short of it is critical race theory is teaching kids in school about racism, right? I think this is why critical race theory can be so important, because it breaks down the systemic issues with racism. And hopefully, if you taught this in school, it could begin to change the mindset of the younger generation. We have a young generation of white kids and non-black kids who are putting racism to the side and just seeing people for who they are, but it's not happening enough, especially in these towns like this, these small white enclaves where it's not a lot of black people around. We tend to see the racism or the racist incidents kind of happen a lot in these type of situations, you know what I mean? But it's important that our kids are aware of all this shit. So I'm gonna read to you what critical race theory is and why it's important to teach it in school. And if you haven't seen anything about this, it's been debates going back and forth trying to determine, should we even teach our kids about the real history of this country in school? You see, because if the real history of this country is taught in school, it'll be evident that it's a systemic issue, and it'll be evident that the government, the powers that be, have to do something. Now we talking reparations. Now we talking really getting some shit handled. They don't want that to happen. You feel me? That's what I think. So let me read y'all a little bit about this, because you may think that incidents like this are rare, meaning schools conducting slave auctions either by the students or by the faculty, but this isn't the first time. So in April 2021, students at a Texas school were outed for engaging in a virtual slave trading game on Snapchat featuring their Black classmates. In September of that same year, Newburgh School District in Oregon found a similar Snapchat-based slave trading game, which was reportedly going on since 2020. Back in May 2019, a New York teacher was fired for conducting a mock slave auction as a part of a class assignment. Now, understand something, right? Teaching racism in school is one thing, shouldn't happen, or it should be taught in the right way. But think about how this can empower a white kid. If you don't give them all the tools, if you don't give them all the information, and he's just reading about how I used to own this motherfucker sitting next to me, think about how empowering that could be for the white kid. Think about how demoralizing that could be for the Black kid. You see what I'm saying? So shit, family, if these schools aren't going to teach our kids what's right and the correct history, I'm putting this on the parents. There shouldn't be no Black household in America that does not teach Black history. There's all type of ways to do it. Of course, there's books, there's flashcards. I have people on my show all the time who speak about different things they've created to kind of circumvent these actions. There's flashcards, there's books, there's all type of information available. There's no excuse why your kids shouldn't be empowered and know exactly who they are, family. You feel me? So let me read a little bit of what critical race theory is, because again, I'm baffled by how this is even a conversation, like determining whether or not to tell the truth. This is the country we live in, family. So this is what critical race theory is. Intellectual and social movement and loosely organized framework of legal analysis based on the premise that race is not a natural biological grounded feature of physically distinct subgroups of human beings, but a socially constructed, culturally invented category that is used to oppress and exploit people of color. Critical race theorists hold that racism is inherent in the law and legal institutions of the United States as they function to create and maintain social, economic, and political inequities between white and non-whites, especially African Americans. Now, critical race theorists are generally dedicated to applying their understanding of the institutional or structural nature of racism to the concrete, if distant, goal of eliminating all race-based or other unjust hierarchies. Family, that's what racism is. A lot of people get it confused sometimes, and they think, you know, racism is just somebody white calling me a nigga. Racism is just somebody white, a white lady clutching her purse when I walk by. Yeah, I mean, this can be considered a race-based incident, but bigger than any of this, family, is the institutions we have to deal with. In school, as we see here, the prison system, when we look at how we're treated when we sell drugs compared to a white person, when we look at the mortgage lending industry, I've done stories on how when a Black person gets an appraisal with their Black pictures up and all their Black shit, it get appraised at one price. They take all the pictures down, have their white friend come, do the appraisal, it goes up. You see what I'm saying? This is institutionalized racism, family. This is the type of racism that, honestly, we should focus more on. Like, I'm not going to let no white person call me a nigga, like never in a million years. But the institutions that we have in this country apply the most pressure when it comes to how we're treated. You feel me? So shout out to this shout out to this Caucasian mom. We have to do that, family, because I can only imagine how difficult it is raising a child who's biracial and you don't come from that culture. This takes some doing, meaning you have to equip yourself with what these people have been through, and that can take something. You see what I'm saying? So shout out to this white mom family. If any of us are going through any of these type of things in our schools, we need to be aware that most of the teachers, like 80 to 90 something percent of the teachers who teach our kids are white women anyways, who come from environments that don't necessarily understand who we are. So we're up against the 8 ball here, family, but we can do something. Like, fuck just allowing a teacher to do whatever with your kid. Like, of course you send them to school, but let's make sure we're involved. Let's make sure if we have to face any incident like this, we stand up and we speak truth to power, regardless of where it leads us, family. If you don't want your grandkids, if you don't want the next generation of the children in your family to have to deal with being shot by the cops, to have to deal with this type of situation this young man is going through, we got to speak truth to power, family. We can't let incidents like this go by and we don't say nothing, because silence, know this, right? Not saying something is saying something. You know what I mean? Like, silence is doing something. Not saying something is actually doing something. Your silence is saying you ain't doing. Your silence is speaking volumes of what you actually want to do. You see what I'm saying? Which is nothing. So let's keep that in mind, family. All of my parents, you got kids in school. Let's be diligent about what we are making sure our kids know. Like, when they come home from school, and I was speaking to this about a brother who I interviewed a couple of weeks back, who created some bomb-ass flashcards for the Black family. If your kid comes home and they talk about Christopher Columbus, or they come home with some of this bullshit history, regardless of the age they are, this is a great opportunity for you to step in and give them the information they need. Again, we're not preaching hate. You're just going to tell them the truth about what really fucking happened. You see what I'm saying? So shout out to this white mom for stepping up for her baby. Let's talk about it, man. What would y'all do in a situation like this? Your kid gets put on an auction with his white students or with his white classmates. How would you respond to it? This is your brother Harrison, the Melanated Convo. Like, subscribe.